Nicole Kidman just shocked Hollywood. After 19 years of marriage, she walked away from Keith Urban without asking for a single dollar. No support, no payout, nothing. And the real reason she did it wasn't love or forgiveness. It was strategy. A masterclass in power, control, and freedom. Nicole Kidman finally reveals why she didn't seek spousal support from Keith Urban after 19 years of marriage. But this isn't a Hollywood confession, not a glossy magazine interview, not even a cryptic social media post. She revealed it quietly, strategically, through a court filing. A few pages of legal text said more than any statement ever could. And what those papers reveal isn't just a story about money or divorce. It's a story about power, control, and the freedom that comes when you no longer need anyone financially, not even the person you spent almost 2 decades with. After nearly 20 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman, the highest paid actress in the world according to Forbes, officially waived all spousal support from Keith Urban, and Keith did the same. No monthly payments, no shared assets, no financial connection of any kind. A completely clean break. But that decision, that quiet, deliberate choice to ask for nothing, raises the biggest question of all. Why would someone walk away from a 19-year marriage without asking for a single dollar in ongoing support? What does that reveal about the marriage itself? And what kind of woman makes that move when every legal and financial expert would tell her she's entitled to more? Because what Nicole's court filing reveals isn't generosity or forgiveness. It's strategy. It's strength. It's the culmination of lessons learned from a lifetime in Hollywood. Lessons that taught her that financial independence isn't just protection. It's power. When Nicole filed for divorce from Keith Urban in late September, fans were stunned not only by the timing, but by the details. Both parties waived spousal support completely. The filing made it clear. There would be no future payments from Nicole to Keith, no future payments from Keith to Nicole. Whatever they earned during their marriage, whatever they built individually, remained separate. It was as if 2 worlds had coexisted under one roof. Parallel, never merging. Nicole Kidman has long been one of the wealthiest women in Hollywood. Forbes named her the highest paid actress in 2024, with earnings that placed her above nearly everyone in the industry. Her career stretches across decades, from Oscar-winning films to Emmy-winning series like Big Little Lies, and a portfolio of endorsements and production deals that would make even top executives envious. Her personal fortune is estimated in the hundreds of millions. Keith Urban, on the other hand, is no ordinary musician. He's a multi-Grammy-winning country music superstar with platinum albums, sold-out tours, and a fan base that spans continents. He's wealthy, successful, and established in his own right. But in this marriage, money wasn't equal, and neither was the power that came with it. Here's where it gets interesting. In California, where Nicole filed for divorce, spousal support isn't just about who earns more. It's about maintaining the standard of living the couple built together. After 19 years, either one could have made a case for ongoing support based on the lifestyle they shared. Nicole could have easily claimed entitlement to compensation for any difference in income or lifestyle after the split. Keith could have done the same. But neither did. They both walked away clean. And that kind of clean break, after nearly 2 decades, doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. Because this divorce wasn't just a separation, it was the execution of a plan that began 19 years earlier. The court documents quietly confirmed something remarkable. Nicole and Keith had maintained complete financial separation throughout their marriage. Each kept all assets held in their own names. Each retained ownership of their respective work. Nicole's film and television earnings, Keith's music catalog and touring income. No joint accounts, no shared investments, no blurred financial lines. It's rare, almost unheard of, for a marriage that long to have such clean division. And there's only one reason that kind of separation exists: a rock-solid prenuptial agreement signed before the wedding ever happened. Back in 2006, when Nicole married Keith in Sydney, she wasn't just a bride. She was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, already an Oscar winner, already at the top of her career, already someone who had survived one of the most public divorces in entertainment history. Her split from Tom Cruise in 2001. That experience left deep marks, not just emotionally, but legally. It taught her that love is fragile, but contracts are permanent. So when she said "I do" to Keith, she also said, "I will protect myself." She entered the marriage with a prenuptial agreement that made one thing crystal clear. What's hers stays hers, what's his stays his. And if it ever ends, they walk away with what they each built individually. No drama, no courtroom battles, no messy financial war. At the time, many saw it as standard Hollywood procedure. But today, that same document has become the foundation for one of the cleanest, most strategic celebrity divorces in recent memory. The prenup protected Nicole's empire from the very beginning. It also gave her the confidence to waive spousal support when the marriage finally ended. Because the truth is, everything was already decided years ago. There was nothing to fight for, no assets to split, no earnings to share, no financial dependency to untangle. But there's a deeper truth in that arrangement, one that speaks volumes about how Nicole viewed love, marriage, and power. She may have loved Keith deeply, but she never allowed herself to depend on him. Not emotionally, and certainly not financially. That kind of independence doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of hard lessons, the kind you only learn by living through heartbreak under a global spotlight. After her marriage to Tom Cruise collapsed, Nicole understood that protecting your future sometimes means separating love from money. She built legal walls not because she didn't love Keith, but because she knew how unpredictable life in Hollywood can be. That prenup wasn't a lack of trust. It was survival. And 19 years later, that survival instinct paid off. When the marriage ended, Nicole didn't have to ask for a dime. She didn't have to negotiate her freedom. It was already written in the fine print, waiting for the day she decided to walk away. But the decision to waive spousal support wasn't just about legal documents. It was also about image and control. Nicole Kidman is one of the most carefully managed public figures in Hollywood. Every appearance, every word, every decision is deliberate. And by refusing spousal support, she controlled the narrative. No one could accuse her of marrying Keith for money. No one could say she used him or took advantage of his success. No one could paint her as the ex-wife cashing in on her husband's career. Instead, she emerged as the woman who walked away asking for nothing, who had everything she needed, who didn't depend on anyone to maintain her lifestyle. That's not just good legal strategy. That's masterful image control. Because in Hollywood, reputation is currency. And Nicole Kidman's reputation has always been one of elegance, self-sufficiency, and quiet strength. The woman who won her Oscar for The Hours, who rebuilt her career after a public divorce, who became the face of female resilience in an industry built on reinvention, that woman wasn't going to ask for spousal support. She didn't need it, and she wanted the world to know that. But that's only the surface. The court filing reveals another layer, one that exposes how her financial independence shaped her personal life from the inside out. For 19 years, Nicole and Keith built a life together, but financially, they lived apart. They shared a marriage, children, and a home, but not a bank account. That kind of separation doesn't just happen for legal reasons. It reflects something deeper, a relationship built on mutual respect, but sustained by distance. Keith Urban spent much of his career on tour, traveling for months at a time, performing across the world. Nicole's world was built on film sets, production meetings, and red carpets. Their schedules rarely aligned, and while they publicly supported each other, privately, they lived parallel lives. Their finances mirrored that distance. Separate accounts, separate earnings, separate empires. When a couple never merges financially, it usually means one of two things. Either both value their independence deeply, or both understand that what they're building together has an expiration date. For Nicole, it may have been both. Her financial independence was her safety net, her freedom, her way of ensuring that she would never again feel trapped in a marriage that no longer served her. So, when the marriage began to crumble under the weight of distance and exhaustion, she didn't hesitate. She didn't have to. She could afford to leave, literally and emotionally. And that's the real power hidden inside that court filing. The power to walk away, not because you want to hurt someone, but because you've built a life that doesn't require them to survive. The decision to waive spousal support was not a loss. It was a victory. It was Nicole Kidman's final statement to the world, that she is her own empire. And as the court filing quietly made its way into the public record, one thing became clear. Nicole didn't just end a marriage. She completed a plan 19 years in the making. As the details of Nicole Kidman's court filing began to surface, fans and media outlets alike started piecing together the quiet brilliance behind her decision. What seemed like a simple act of independence, walking away from a 19-year marriage without asking for spousal support, was far more than that. It was the final act of a carefully constructed story that began long before her marriage to Keith Urban even started. Because to understand why Nicole didn't ask for money, you have to understand the kind of woman she became after surviving Hollywood's most public heartbreak. In 2001, when her marriage to Tom Cruise ended, Nicole was not just heartbroken, she was blindsided. That divorce taught her that in love, emotion can cloud judgment, but in Hollywood, money always tells the truth. It taught her that even when you're in love, you protect yourself. And when you're at the top, you never, ever depend on anyone else to keep you there. So when she met Keith Urban, a rising country star with a charming smile and undeniable talent, she was cautious. She fell in love, yes, but she also prepared. She built boundaries, legal ones, financial ones, emotional ones. Nicole Kidman didn't enter her second marriage naive or unprotected. She entered it knowing exactly what she could lose, and exactly how to make sure she never lost control of her life again. And that's what makes this story so compelling. 19 years later, the same walls she built to protect herself from potential heartbreak ended up protecting her from financial chaos. The same boundaries that might have seemed cold or calculated back in 2006 became the reason she was able to walk away in 2025 with her dignity and independence fully intact. The court filing exposed something rare in celebrity divorces: mutual respect and strategic foresight. Both Nicole and Keith agreed to a clean break. No ongoing payments, no shared property battles, no legal tug-of-war over assets. This kind of precision doesn't happen in the aftermath of emotion. It happens when both parties know exactly what's coming and exactly how to handle it. But make no mistake, this wasn't an equal playing field. Nicole Kidman was the one holding the power, both emotionally and financially. She had built an empire far beyond acting. Her production company, Blossom Films, gave her creative and financial control over projects she not only starred in, but produced. From Big Little Lies to 9 Perfect Strangers, her name wasn't just above the title, it was behind it. She wasn't an employee of Hollywood anymore. She was a boss, and that power came with freedom. The kind of freedom most women in Hollywood rarely get. She didn't need to fight for support because her income was self-sustaining. Her projects generated millions. Her brand deals, endorsements, and partnerships brought in more. Even as she approached her late 50s, her career wasn't slowing down. It was accelerating. That fact alone redefined what aging looks like for women in the industry. Keith Urban, meanwhile, was still performing to sold-out crowds, touring across the US, Europe, and Australia. His career was stable, but not expanding at the same rate as Nicole's. And while his net worth was impressive, it didn't come close to hers. The financial imbalance wasn't an issue when they were together, because they'd both agreed it never would be. Their prenup ensured that their money stayed separate, their empires independent. But when the marriage began to fracture, that same separation became symbolic of something much deeper. Two people, successful in their own right, living under one roof but existing in different worlds. Nicole's life revolved around scripts, producers, and camera crews. Keith's revolved around guitars, set lists, and arenas filled with screaming fans. For nearly 2 decades, they lived in motion. 2 careers that rarely intersected, 2 lives that only occasionally aligned. When the divorce papers landed, there was no blame, no public outburst, no accusations of betrayal. Just 2 signatures on a clean, precise agreement. But the simplicity of that agreement hides a complex truth: the emotional and financial separation that had existed all along. Nicole's decision not to seek spousal support was a reflection of who she had become, a woman who had learned that freedom is worth more than money, that sometimes the cleanest exit is the most powerful one, and it's not about generosity, it's about control. By walking away without asking for anything, Nicole made sure there would be no ongoing financial link to her ex-husband, no monthly reminders, no paperwork, no dependency, just closure. That's a luxury few people ever achieve in divorce, especially in Hollywood, where settlements often drag on for years. But Nicole knew that freedom comes at a price, and in her case, that price was letting go of something she never needed in the first place: his money. But there's another side to this strategy, one that has nothing to do with dollars and everything to do with image. Nicole's public persona has always been tightly controlled. She doesn't air her personal life on social media. She doesn't do emotional tell-all interviews. She lets her work speak for her, and this divorce, handled with complete professionalism and quiet grace, reinforced exactly who she is in the eyes of the world: elegant, self-reliant, and untouchable. By waiving spousal support, Nicole also protected Keith. It may sound unexpected, but it's true. She eliminated the narrative that often follows celebrity men after divorce, the idea that their ex-wives took them for everything. By refusing to take anything, she allowed Keith to walk away with his dignity too. That's not weakness, that's dominance. Because the power move in Hollywood isn't taking someone's money, it's showing the world that you don't need it. Behind closed doors, the decision may have been as practical as it was emotional. Nicole didn't need the money, and Keith couldn't afford the optics of a drawn-out battle. The arrangement suited them both, but it defined her legacy. She walked away not as a woman scorned, but as a woman in control. And yet, the deeper story within those court filings isn't about money at all. It's about independence. Because while Nicole gave up the right to spousal support, she gained something far more valuable in return: time. The same court documents that revealed her financial decisions also revealed her custody agreement. And this is where Nicole's strategy becomes crystal clear. According to the filing, Nicole was granted primary custody of their 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. She has them for 306 days per year. Keith has them for 59. That's an 83-17 split, a clear indication of who was present in their lives and who was not. This wasn't a coincidence. This was negotiation. Nicole traded financial claims for parenting control. She prioritized motherhood over money. Keith, whose touring schedule often kept him away from home for months, agreed to this arrangement. In exchange, he prepaid his child support obligations in one lump sum, an unusual move that eliminated the need for ongoing payments. He could continue his career without financial distractions, and Nicole could continue raising their daughters in stability and consistency. To the public, it looks graceful. To legal observers, it looks calculated. But in truth, it's both. Nicole's priorities have always been her children. She said in rare interviews that motherhood grounded her, gave her purpose, and changed the way she viewed success. And through this divorce, she ensured that her daughters' lives would remain as steady as possible, living primarily with her, surrounded by stability, while their father continued his career on the road. Nicole didn't need spousal support because she didn't need him financially, but she wanted her daughters emotionally, and that's what she fought for. She made a trade that only a powerful woman could make. She gave up money for control, finances for family, support payments for stability. It's a kind of negotiation that exposes how deeply she understood her own leverage. Because make no mistake, in this divorce, Nicole held every card. Her wealth gave her options, her career gave her influence, and her history gave her the wisdom to play the long game. 19 years of marriage had already taught her everything she needed to know about compromise, distance, and survival. So, when it was time to end it, she did so without emotion, without scandal, without hesitation. She walked away exactly as she had prepared to, protected, independent, and in control of the story. For Nicole Kidman, waiving spousal support wasn't a loss. It was liberation. It meant no more lawyers managing her finances. No more monthly reminders of a marriage that no longer existed. No more headlines about who pays what. Just freedom. The rare kind of freedom that only comes when you've built your own empire from the ground up. And perhaps that's the lesson hidden inside her quiet court filing. That real power isn't about what you take when something ends. It's about what you already have when it does. And as the story of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban continues to unfold, one truth stands out. Love in Hollywood is never what it seems. Behind the perfect smiles, the designer gowns, and the red carpet kisses lies a reality built on fragile trust, legal contracts, and the constant glare of fame. Nicole fought hard to hold on, believing that time and patience could heal what fame had broken. Keith tried to keep the peace, to play his part, to balance the man he wanted to be with the image the world demanded. But in the end, the fairy tale they once sold to the public began to fade into silence, replaced by the cold language of lawyers, clauses, and financial settlements. Now, as the world debates who was right and who was wrong, the truth is far more human. Two people who built an empire together now find themselves standing on opposite sides of a courtroom, wondering how it all came to this. The headlines may scream betrayal and money, but what we're really watching is the quiet unraveling of a love story that was supposed to last forever. For Nicole, this isn't just the end of a marriage, it's the start of a new chapter. A moment to reclaim her independence, her voice, and perhaps her peace. For Keith, it's a reckoning. A reminder that fame, fortune, and even love can't protect anyone from the cost of truth. And maybe that's the real tragedy here. Not the money, not the prenup, but the loss of two hearts that once believed they could beat as one in a world built on illusion. Because in Hollywood, happily ever after isn't written in love, it's written in ink. So What do you think? Was Nicole's decision to walk away a sign of strength or heartbreak? Was Keith the victim of a clever legal move or the architect of his own downfall? Tell us what you think in the comments below, because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over.